Hello everyone, this is James Song here. Welcome back to the TOEFL show. This is episode 37 of the TOEFL show. Today, we have a great show ready for you. We are covering TOEFL writing question 2, the very last question of the TOEFL test. TOEFL writing section question 2, writing for an academic discussion. Complete lesson, complete guide. So I will go through this question sentence by sentence, word for word, break it down, and I'll teach you how to write this question, how to write the answers for this question perfectly and get the perfect score every single time. All right, so let's get started. So as you can see on the screen here, this is the screen you get for TOEFL writing question 2. So we'll go through each and every word, but basically, in a nutshell, it has left side and right side. And left side, there is a direction, okay? Each and every time, the question is going to tell you, this is what you need to do to score well. This is what you need to accomplish to complete this task. And on the bottom, on the left-hand side, it's a prompt from the professor, teacher of the class. But basically, this part is just professor giving us the actual question that we need to complete. That's on the left-hand side. Direction and actual question. And since this is discussion, thankfully, fortunately, and very, very interestingly, they are not just giving us the question, okay, complete this. Actually, we get some bonus on the right side of the screen. We get the answers of the question given to us by the professor. We get 2 answers from 2 other students. So, obviously more information, better it is for us. We may not use it, but we may use it, or it could become a big hint for us. Who knows? Okay. It's better to have some information than nothing. Usually I feel. So we'll look at this right side of the screen as well. And we'll have a read what Claire and Andrew have said about the question and see, what kind of skills, strategy we can use to use this information. All right. So this is a screen you get. Okay, direction and the question, and 2 answers from 2 other students. And as soon as you get this screen, your time limit of 10 minutes starts. And bottom of the screen here, if you go to the TOEFL test, there will be cursor here. So you can type in the answer immediately if you wish, okay? And there will be a stopwatch right here, giving you 10 minutes, okay? Okay, so let's first read the direction, then the question, so we know what we have to do. It says, your professor is teaching a class on education. So it's always the same every single time. So we shouldn't waste our time reading these sentences each and every time. We should learn it now, kind of memorize. And only word it is any benefit to us is this one word here. Okay? So we can kind of just quickly look at it. Okay. So the subject, the question will come out of will be education. All right. So, we will read this one time and we will analyze and really understand what we need to do. But after watching this video, when you actually take the test, you shouldn't waste your time reading these sentences. Obviously not. Just look at this one word to, get your mind kind of set. Okay, I'm going to get the question about education. All right. So write a post, write do the writing, responding to the professor's question. So professor will give you a question and answer it by writing. In your response, you should. This is our mission to get the perfect score. We need to satisfy these two criteria to complete this task well and get the score we want, ideally perfect score, right? So first criteria, express and support your opinion. Very obvious, okay? So, your opinion will be the answer to the question. So show that clearly show what is your opinion as your answer, and support it, meaning don't just give us one sentence answer. This is my opinion. I believe this. Full stop. You are not going to get a good score. You need to support it, meaning you have to develop your thesis further. So the simplest way to do this always is what, why, how. Okay? So what would be our answer? And we can put in some reasons why we feel that way. And then if we want to elaborate even longer, then we can, think of how to support why. Okay, I'll show you exactly how you can write something perfectly every single time. Definitely for TOEFL writing question 2 as well. All right, so first criteria, easy enough. Show your opinion as your answer and support it. So it's what, why, how. So support it so it sounds logical and maybe persuasive. Okay. Second point, make a contribution to the discussion. Okay. A bit like what you would read in rubric for scoring. Okay. Quite sophisticated, very, very technical. Let's really understand this sentence. Okay. So first, we will define what this means. What does this mean? And then through this video today, through this complete lesson, I'll show you how to achieve this. Okay? So make a contribution to the discussion. What is the discussion? Discussion is the question given by the professor and two answers that two other students have already provided. That's a discussion. Discussion is going on. And if this was a real discussion board, then you are adding your answer as an additional part of a discussion. This discussion board is getting longer with your answer. So there is a question, same question to everyone. And discussion is taking place between Claire and Andrew already. And whoever you are is providing your answer in full to make this discussion longer. All right. So what does it mean by contribution and make a contribution? Okay. Let's define this first. If you are making a contribution, then means you are adding something. That's making a contribution, usually adding additional value. So let me explain to you this by giving you like analogous example. Okay. So if there is like a fund, pool of money, okay, financial fund, investment fund, and if someone say you are making a contribution to the fund, then basically you are adding your money into this investment fund. That's making a contribution. So you are adding something. You are adding value to something that is in existence. Okay? Or let me give you another example to clarify. Let's say you made a real contribution to a basketball game as a player for your team. Or your coach said, great job, well played. you made a great contribution today. Okay? Then if you made a contribution to the basketball game for your team, then you went to the court as a player and you played really hard. You added something, maybe you score some points. That's making a contribution, adding value. Or you played defense really hard and you stopped the opposition team from scoring, 3, 4, 5 times. Then you made a contribution to this team in this game. Well done. That's making a contribution. You are adding something valuable to something that is in existence right now. So for this writing task, there is discussion already taking place. Question is given, and 2 students have contributed, started this discussion by giving their own answer. So this is discussion in existence. And your answer should be making contribution to this discussion. 1 question and 2 answers. So you could do this in many different ways, but in a nutshell, in short, you need to add your own original, additional contents that is above and beyond, in addition to what is already given by Claire and Andrew. So now we understand completely. So how to do this? Let's discuss how not to do, what not to do. So you cannot copy exactly the same contents and write the same contents as your answer, or you are not adding any additional detail or additional reason, different contents, but you're just paraphrasing exactly what Claire and or Andrew said. And pretty much if you just copy and paste these 2 students' answer, even if it's paraphrased, if you basically copy and pasted these 2 students' contents and create your answer, then you are not making contribution. Yeah? You just copy and paste. Okay? So basically making a contribution to the discussion here means you are adding more contents, different views, different reason. Or if you kind of already using partially the reasons Claire and Andrew have mentioned, then you should give additional detail. You should elaborate the same reason more in depth or more widely, right? You have to add your own contents to the same question. Obviously, you have to answer the question. You have to be on the topic. If you are off topic, there will be huge deduction. You have to answer the question. So it should be related to the question, connected, but you can't just use what other students have said already. You should do more than that. You need to have your own contents. As soon as you have related, connected, more contents above and beyond this information, answering the same question, then you are making a contribution to the decision. Okay? So this is how you might read. Okay, when you read this, because everything is investment, we only have 10 minutes. So when we're reading this, we are using our valuable time because, the time we have to complete our writing to get score will be shortened. So, whenever we spend time reading, it must have a purpose. So to make a contribution to the discussion, when we read this, ideally, you might want to agree or disagree, get some motivation and inspiration to create additional contents about this same question, right? So you agree with this reason so much that you want to use this reason, but you want to elaborate and explain it in much more in detail, or you want to give your own additional example to create more contents about the same reason, or you agree with it so much that as you read, it kind of helped you. This information gave you a hint to create your own reason, all right? Or you really may not like this information. As you read it, you really strongly disagree, so that you can think of some opposite or different reason. That could be another way to read this information. That could be meeting your purpose and objective. All right. So let's actually read and give you a demonstration, and let's work together. So now we clarified what we have to do. We have to do these two things to get the perfect score. We must express and support our opinion. Yeah. Make contribution to the discussion. Got it. Effective response will contain at least 100 words, so you should not write less than 100 words. But if you follow my strategy, my lesson, your answer will always be, if it's really short, sort of 120, 130 words, around there. And if it gets longer, whether you intend it or not, it will end up around 150 words or slightly longer. So, trust me and just follow my lesson, then you will be fine in word count. All right. So that's a direction. We understood. And every question, there will be a professor giving us a background and actual question we have to answer. This week, we analyzed an aspect of current education system, All right, so we've been analyzing, studying different aspects, perspective, values of education system. Okay, what kind of education system? I'm curious. One type of school system we discussed, okay, here we go, was a boarding school. We know boarding school, school that has a residence, that you need to live in school. You don't go home every day, right? Live in school, that's boarding school, right? Which, as the name suggests, is a type of school where students live at their school during the school year. Exactly what I said. Some boarding school let you go home during the weekend, I think, every weekend. But other boarding school, as you have seen in the movies and drama series, like you have to live at the school for the whole semester. And when semester is finished, you go home only when vacation starts, right? Okay, so got it. So here comes a question, guys. So let's concentrate. This is actual question. I would like you to discuss which one is better. Whether you consider boarding school one type of education system, one type of school, boarding school, beneficial for students' education. So whether boarding school is beneficial or more beneficial for most of the students, or some other school system different to boarding school, okay? Or whether you think day school is just a normal school, okay? Regular school that you go to the school each and every day, every morning. Let's say, typical middle school or high school or elementary school, even, not always, but sometimes, most of the times, school starts first class around 9 a.m., let's say, and last class finish, 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 3:30, something like that. And when the school is over, then you get out of the school. You go somewhere else, you go home. So that's a day schools, okay? So which is better, do you think? Not what you prefer, which is a better school system, generally speaking, for more students? That's the question. That's a sharp comprehension of this question. Where students do not live at the school are better for most students. Okay, so if you are kind of education minister, or if you want to make advice for general cases for more students, majority of the students in society, if you have to make a decision to tell them which type of school, which type of education system is better for student, more beneficial for student education, boarding school or day school. Okay, so we need to make the statement. We need to answer. Okay, we need to say, in my opinion, I believe day schools are better and more beneficial to the students than boarding school. I think boarding school is a better school system that benefits more students than day schools. Okay, and typically you don't have to, but you could say like second or first reason is that, or if you give two reasons, and if you kind of support each reason a little bit to elaborate, to make it logical and kind of develop your argument, then there will be the perfect way to complete this answer. So that's done. And make a contribution to the discussion. Okay, so we haven't read really, like this is how we would read when we read. That's what I said. So let's actually read and see what kind of hint we can get out of it, how we should read. Okay, I would have loved to have attended a boarding school. So for Claire, it's very clear that she prefers boarding school. I think she thinks attending boarding school is a good idea. Okay, let's see the logic of that argument. I feel like boarding schools would have helped me, help her, or help many students establish strict daily routine. That's a good thing. You become more disciplined person, right? You don't become lazy. You become busy and diligent, earnest student, hardworking student, right? Help her become more disciplined. So argument is, so first reason is, she think attending boarding school is good idea for students. If it was her, she would think that it would help her become more disciplined person, okay, by following strict schedule by the school. Okay, that's the first argument. Okay, there's another reason. So you could say, yeah, this is great. Many students, the crucial problems for many students are that, or is that students may get lazy, they don't really study hard, but this is a solution to that problem. So you might say, oh, this is a great reason. Okay, or you might think that this is really bad reason, or you may not like the idea of boarding school in the first place. Then by reading this, you can kind of solidify, yeah, this is exactly why boarding school is not a good idea. I think students should have more freedom to do whatever they want, or they should practice making their own decision. They should set their own schedule and follow it to be ready to become more independent person as an adult in the future. But if you go to boarding school and you just follow the schedule, then you are losing your opportunity to practice making your own decision or becoming more independent person. Okay, that kind of idea may come into your head by reading this sentence, hopefully. Okay. Also, there's another reason. Being in a boarding school means that you are with friends and classmates around the clock all the time, long time, because you live with them, right? And I would have loved such an opportunity. So there's a lack of how here. Okay, there is why. So that's our opportunity. So we could infer and kind of finish the sentences for her that, you can build lifelong friendship with the people you go to school with. You can have fun together after school. You can study together, make a study group, and you can play sports together as a team. So you can have a great time and more intense relationship, better and in-depth relationship with this group of people that you go to school with. Something like that. That's what she's saying. Okay, so you might say, yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a great reason. I want to use that reason. And yeah, I want to choose the boarding school like Claire, but I want to contribute. So I want to think of slightly different reason. Let me think of at least like one more reason of my own. You could do that. Or this sentence might really motivate you to disagree with Claire. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly why I do not like the idea of boarding school. Like you spend all the time with your classmates. So what? That means you're losing opportunity to meet many different people outside of school. So you won't have many different friendships in your neighborhood outside of the school. You will only have friends from school. I don't think that's a good thing. You should meet many different types of people and gain many different experiences. That is more beneficial to students' education. You might think that by reading this, hopefully. Or you might think, this is terrible. You should spend more time with family as a student, especially if you're a young kid, or even you grown up in your teenage years before you hopefully move out of home one day after 18 years old. You should spend more time with your family, get some support, mental support, moral support from your family, mom and dad, build some memories with your siblings. But if you go to boarding school, yeah, you spend all the time with the classmates, but that's about it. You have to sacrifice a lot of time you could spend with family members. And I think that's a horrible idea. And not only you can disagree with boarding school, but you could use that reason you thought of right now by reading Claire's reasons. Okay? So this is how you do it. And this is how you should get some hint by reading this information to your advantage. Okay? How about Andrew? Personally, I do not support the boarding school. There you go. So Andrew probably supports day school. Why? As I believe it can lead to many psychological problems. Wow. He's oversimplifying or overgeneralizing. Andrew is quite extreme. It's he's just making clear statement. It's super negative. This kind of seriously bad things can happen to some students. Okay. All right. How? In fact, I have heard, so it's just a story. Obviously not to every student, but only some student, right? What is referred to as a boarding school syndrome. So you have some kind of psychological disease. Okay. you get boarding school syndrome. How do you get it? What is it? Which in simple terms suggests that some students who attend boarding school at very young age, yeah, we can see how this is going. They are, maybe they are not getting enough love and support from their parents, which is very important and beneficial for them. And they may lack this emotional satisfaction, from their family, right? So let's be extreme, because I'm not saying this is a good argument or bad argument, but certainly this is very extreme argument, almost like slightly oversimplified or overgeneralized. It's a very strong and extreme argument. So let's make it extreme for us to understand. So let's say some students attend boarding school from like kindergarten or grade 1, okay, right? As young as they get, then they can have long-term emotional and behavioral challenges. May not, but at least like we can understand, we can make some inference, okay? Because if they're so young, especially, then, and if they don't see their moms and dads for 3 to 6 months at a time, then we can infer why and how some young kids may get this kind of long-term emotional problems, okay? That he's calling it boarding school syndrome, and he's calling it developing psychological problems, okay? You don't have to agree or disagree with Andrew, but it's beneficial for us to at least clearly understand what he's saying. So we understood what he's saying, okay? So why take that risk? Why trying boarding school when this may happen to some student? Why take the risk if most students have another option? Be safe. Just go to day schools and avoid potential of developing psychological problems like boarding school syndrome altogether, especially if you're really young. Just don't try. Just be safe. Go to day school, and you will not potentially have this problem at all. Okay? Don't take that risk. That's his argument. So, as you're reading it, yeah, definitely. Young kids, I cannot imagine, living in a boarding school like 1 month at a time, away from my mom at 5 years old. Yeah, that would be horrible for me. You could kind of, this information might help you to, decide, yeah, I'm going to go for day school, because day school have many advantages, but boarding school have many disadvantages. So in my reasoning, when I develop my argument, if I decide day school, for example, when I developing it, supporting it, I can tell some advantages of day school and support it, but also I can say some disadvantage of boarding school and support it and say, so I think day school is better because boarding school has this drawback, right? So, okay, this is how you should read as an example. I mean, everyone may get different hints, different reason, different inspiration as you read, but the purpose of investing time reading this student's answer is that it should kind of give you some hint or give you some help. Otherwise, why waste time, right? Okay, right. So personally, you don't have to. I have made a decision that I want to answer this question by saying, I think for most students in general, attending day school would be more beneficial for student education than attending boarding school. That would be my answer. So at least I've decided, okay? And so next step, obviously we put this screen on left, and I'm going to create another small screen that I can write on. and then I will plan and develop our writing answer before we type it away, okay? But before we do that, I want to discuss something very interesting, fun, but very, very, very important and significant, okay? So when you analyze, as we have done, when you analyze this question, TOEFL writing question 2, so the actual question is, okay, whether day school or boarding school would be more beneficial for students' education. Okay? Explain why you think so. That's a question, right? Is this question fundamentally very similar or almost the same as one other question we have already learned in TOEFL test? Like, is there any other question you feel, you know what, James, actually, after you analyzing it in such a detail, I realized this question is like essentially same as this other question in TOEFL. Do you have that? Have a think. Give yourself like 5 to 10 seconds. It will hit you. Did you get it? Which one? Exactly. Fundamentally, intrinsically, this question is pretty much the same. I shouldn't say the same. Very similar to question 1 in speaking. It is. It's the same question, especially when it is closed question, because question 1 in speaking section is closed question as well. They don't ask you open question. Okay, so it's just slightly easier for us. Okay, it's almost the same question. It's very similar. And you know what? If you have been watching my video and studying hard with my using my material, even the length of words, right? All the model answer, perfect answer script that I have given you in my video for question 1, speaking 1, the word count happened to be around 120 to 150 words most of the time. Even the perfect length of the answer is and should be the same between two questions. Question 1 in speaking and question 2 in writing. Okay. It's pretty much similar questions. Why am I mentioning this? Why am I mentioning this? Obviously, it's helpful, beneficial for you. It must be, something that is useful for you to do this question. That must be the reason I'm making this point. Why do you think I'm making this point? Have a think about it, 5 seconds. Really intriguing thought. Okay. So if you actually write this just like answering question 1 in speaking section, you will do it really well. In fact, you will do it perfectly every time and get the perfect score. All right. So let's look at the criteria. So let's say you saw, because you're very confident, you know what? In speaking section, question 1 was a lot harder for me than TOEFL writing question 2, although it's a very similar question, because I only had like 15 seconds to prepare, which was impossible, but I have done it through this video. I know how to do it. I know how to practice it. And it was a lot more difficult challenge than this question. I mean, I came up with 2 reasons in 15 seconds, and I just spoke the full answer. in 45 seconds. I've done that. And compared to that, this is a piece of cake. This is a chewing gum. It's a lot easier. I have a lot more time. I got 10 minutes. I mean, I've done this in 15 seconds and 45 seconds. I can certainly do this. That's the attitude you should have. Okay? Right? To help yourself. You earn it. You deserve it. Okay? And if you answer this question just like answering question one speaking, first criteria, perfectly done. And you might ask, hey, James, but this question is different because it said make a contribution to the existing discussion. The discussion, but question one in speaking, there is no discussion. So you just do the first criteria, you get the perfect score. But you're wrong, James, because in TOEFL writing question two, you have to do this. So if you answering perfectly like question one in speaking session, you won't be able to accomplish the second point. It's different. You have to mention about the discussion, right? Have a think about this. 5 to 10 seconds. Have a think. Exactly, right? If you, like hypothetically, you didn't read, you should, because it's given to you. You should use all the help, hint. But let's say hypothetically, you didn't read a word of Claire's answer and Andrew's answer. You just felt that it's like distracting me, it's confusing me, it's not helping me. Let's assume, right? And then you just solved it perfectly like question one speaking section question, right? But as long as you had two original reasons of your own, the reasons that you created, plus you explained it, you explained those two reasons with your explanation or example. If you have done what, why, how perfectly, just like perfect answer for question one in speaking section, have we accomplished this or not? Have we accomplished this criteria or not? Of course we have. Okay? Right? By giving that answer, we are answering the question, we are not off topic, and we are adding content. We are adding value to this existing discussion. So it's a choice. It's an option you have. You don't have to mention, like Claire said, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah was mentioned by Andrew. You can, but listen up. This is really important. You can use that kind of strategy, but you don't have to. It's not a must. It's not. You don't have to. You're understanding me, right? There's a light bulb in your brain now, right? It's super clear, right? So by giving your original creative two reasons and backing up logically with explanation or example, you are already perfectly making contribution to the discussion already. So all you have to do is make a contribution to the discussion. It didn't say, mention the benefits or drawback of students' discussion on the passage. It doesn't say that. As long as you make a contribution to the discussion, then you get the full score. Okay? It's logically correct. I also made a clear question to ETS and got the answers. And not only that, I field tested, of course. I took the test, and many of my students have taken the test solving this question, okay, many times, and got the perfect answer. And some of them just solved it like question one in speaking section. They, in their answer, some of them who got the perfect score did not bother mentioning like Claire said that, Andrew said that, and all of them still got the perfect score. So this is proven, and it makes sense logically. Have a think about it. Okay. So as long as you make a contribution to the discussion, then you're fine. So you have two options now. Okay. If you're very focused to the question, your head is very clear, then you read it just to see whether you can get some help, but you don't have to mention anything about Claire or Andrew. You can, but you don't have to. That's not a must. Okay. All right. And I would personally try to just do it like solving question one in speaking, because we have successfully done so already. And then technically, as I will show you in different model answer that I will create for you, that, technically I might add one sentence here and one sentence there, but most of the time, our answers will be so clear, direct, solid, and persuasive that we would not have to worry if we just try to solve it, just like question one in speaking section. Okay. All right. You can see the value of me telling you this, right? There is a clear purpose and objective why I'm trying to persuade you and tell you this information, that this question fundamentally is pretty much the same or very, very similar to question one in speaking section. Therefore, the strategy, how to tackle this question, can be done by pretty much exactly the same strategy that you utilize to answer question one in speaking section. If you are at the level where you are giving the perfect answer in question one in speaking section already. And also, you can kind of use this question to study speaking question one if you want to. And also, if you are practicing writing the full script now, around 150 words or around 120 words for your speaking question one, then you are not wasting your time. Every time you're writing your own script and memorizing it, you are doing a huge practice for TOEFL writing question two. Okay. All right. So I'll put up a new screen. Let's plan our answer together. So let's make some note taking to plan, which means develop our full answer in notes and then write the full answer, okay, in writing. All right. Let's go, guys. All right, let's continue. Let's look at the question on the left-hand side, and let's brainstorm. Let's make notes, plan, and develop our essay on the right side of the screen. Let's do it together. So let's revisit the question. So question is basically asking whether boarding school or day school, which one, in your opinion, is better for most students in society, right? Okay, more beneficial for more students. Okay, so I have decided day school, so I'm going to go for that. And to be honest, I kind of thought of my own reason without or before reading Andrew's or Claire's discussion. But I kind of got some hint directly and indirectly, as I have shown you when I was reading those students' answers, right? So my reasons are pretty clear. First, I think, students who go to day school have more freedom to do whatever they want. and need. So in other words, they can choose and decide whatever that is more beneficial for them to do after school every day. So it's a better education system. It's more beneficial and it's more flexible, you know? So you can do anything and everything that is more beneficial for you after school is over, you know? You might join the sports club and play some sports on some days, right? For your health, for your leisure, for your hobby. Or you could decide to just kind of have fun with friends, just hang out someday. Not all the time, but you can decide. Or you can even like really try to put your head down and do some intensive studies some days, okay? Sometimes. You can even decide to go to some academies for, you know, more chemistry tuition lessons or English lessons, whatever, economics, whatever. And this is all up to you. It's up to students to decide. And they can get benefit from that. But if you go to boarding school, you cannot get out. So you cannot go to academies. There's a lot more restriction. Okay. And considering word count, we don't even have time. We don't even need to like state the both sides. All right. Okay. If we are going to use two reasons. So this will be more than enough, you know, about 60 words per reason, something like that. Okay. We don't need a fancy introduction either. We can just say, in my opinion, I think day school is more beneficial for students' education for most students. That's a perfect introduction. This is not an essay. This is not a formal writing at all. It's writing a post on internet, on the board. So it's very informal. It's almost like writing comments on internet blog. It's that level of formality. Okay. It's like more than 100 words. It's super short. Okay. And another reason I had was I thought spending all the time in the world with your classmates, but nobody else, I think this was really minus. So this might have come from my head originally without reading Claire. I don't know. Or maybe reading Claire's reason may have helped me. Oh, wait a minute. When can you spend time with your family? You know, that may have helped me. Okay. So this is a strategy you should use. If it's really clear, if you have two reasons, just write it down really quickly, like preparing speaking. I mean, you have already done it successfully within even 15 seconds. So, you know, you have ample time. You can use one or two or even longer, 2 minutes to think of idea and develop it like this. And I'm going to talk to you about time shortly, which is very, very, very important. Okay. And second reason I thought of, day school is better to spend more time with family. Certainly that's beneficial. And to, you know, build more deep and better in-depth relationship with family. Okay. And, you know, we don't have time. Word limit is so short, but, you know, if you want to develop it, you can develop like, you know, after your high school, after 18 years old, you become independent and you might go to university, college, you might do different things, get a job, you might move out, get a place of your own. So, you know, you won't have as much time to kind of develop relationship with your family members. So, you know, it's much more beneficial to do it when you are in school and when you're still young, especially, uh, you know, before you turn 18. Okay. But probably you won't have time or you don't need to write that information. Okay, and the major argument here, development, natural flow, is like if you want to build relationship with anyone, you need to spend some time, right? Like you need some time to get to know each other, have fun, have conversation, do things together, right? To build relationship. And also another hint I might have had from Andrew's answer is when you read all that negative things about emotional problem if you go to boarding school from really early age. Okay, so when you especially if you're young or when you're a student, you might say something like you should and you would want, or it's important to get some emotional, mental, and moral support from your own parents, own family. All right. When you're a student, when you're young, when you're teenagers, right? It's important, but simply you just don't have time to get that. You are not physically with your parents at all. You're away from your family, right? So that could finish your paragraph easily, right? And if you write like this, it could even be expanded to around 200 words, easily 150 words. Even if you successfully shorten it so perfectly, then it will be easily around or longer than 120 words. It's not a matter of making it longer, like because you have to. You won't have that problem at all. Okay, you'll be easily over 100 words, and the challenge might be, oh, I'm writing too much. I need to shorten it, right? What, why, how, guys? What, why, how? That will take care of your answer. What, why, how? Perfect strategy, perfect structure, leads to perfect content every single time. Okay. I might write one video just explaining to you what, why, how, maybe, because what, why, how will take care of all your speaking and writing answers, structure, and development. That is it. You don't need any more than that, because that is logical structure of thinking, speaking, writing. Okay? If you think about all the nonfiction reading you do, whether it's books, newspaper, or article, like literature, sometimes it may not be written what, why, how, because, literature is kind of an art. The writer can do whatever they want. Okay, they don't have to always write logically. But if you think about academic textbooks, nonfiction books, all the articles from newspaper, all the writing in the world, nonfiction, that needs to be logical, and all the speeches in the world that need to be developed logically are structured in what, why, how. This is a real secret that everybody knows, that you know. What, why, how is the answer of all your writing, all your speaking structure. All you need to do is use it and get used to it and master it. That's all you need to do. Okay? IELTS question 2 writing, same. It's what, why, how, of course. Okay? TOEFL question 2 before the changes used to be what, why, how. Just like IELTS question 2. Okay? Same. All right. So let me talk about the time. And because this is a complete lesson, I could kind of show you the demonstration as I type each sentence. just making a sentence, full sentence out of these notes. I could do that, but for today's lesson, the purpose of complete lesson video, I will just bring up the full answer that is already typed up, and then I'll read through and we'll just match it together. Okay? And maybe next time or some other video, no doubt, I promise, I'll show you a live demonstration of how I write, okay, based on the notes, but not today, okay? So before I pull up the script and we read through it and match it with our notes, all right? I want to briefly talk about the time you should take to finish this task, okay? One thing I want to talk about, okay, that I hope you will relate with really well, even in your first language. If English is not your native language, you have first language, and if you are studying English as a second language, okay, writer's block. What is writer's block? When you write, obviously writing is most advanced form of language, right? Okay, so listening, speaking is more sort of natural, barbaric kind of form, okay? And then, when human civilization created words, writing, then you read somebody else's writing, or actually your language level improves, so you write as well for somebody else to read. So writing is advanced, okay? And when you write, sometimes if you feel that you don't have content or you don't have an input, you don't know what to write or what to write about, you get stopped. Okay, even professors or even people doing PhD, sometimes they waste 2, 3, 4, 5 years extra because they experience this horrible thing called writer's block. Even in your first language, sometimes, if you get writer's block, it's really terrible. It's all over. Okay, your brain, your head just get wiped out, and you feel like, I don't know what to write about. I don't have any materials to write. Okay, so when you writing, I hope this will really help you. Actually, in all honesty, I know this will help you, okay? So please listen to me carefully, okay? When you write, it's very important you spend more time, plan, and develop all the contents, all the input in your head, almost like you have written it once already in full, and you know exactly what to write. You have all the contents planned and developed, like we did together. And writing is almost like just a mechanical activity. Okay, you are not really thinking as you write. It is already in here, and you are just spitting it out by typing the keyboard. It's only mechanical. Only then you will not experience writer's block. And especially if this is your second language, forget about it. If your plan is not complete, if you have not developed your writing, you don't know exactly what to write in your head, all the material, all the words and sentences, then you will be stopped. So don't make this mistake. This is really important. Don't make this mistake. Get your contents already finished completely in your head and then type. Please don't type as you think of an answer. That's a recipe for disaster. And when you actually get the writer's block, it's very hard to get out of it in a short period of time. So in TOEFL test, if you get stopped because of writer's block, you might struggle 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. Okay, that's horrible. It's a really terrible thing that could happen to you in TOEFL test. So let's not experience that. Let's avoid that. It's a very simple way to avoid this. All you have to do is, as I have shown you, plan and develop your writing answer to completion. So when you start writing, you are just doing the mechanical exercise. You know exactly what to write and what to write about. You have all the contents and development in your head. Then it'll be fine. So please don't make that mistake, because a lot of students and a lot of instructor, tutors, teachers kind of give a wrong advice because they want to help you guys. And this question has a time limit of 10 minutes. So they give you advice like, read it quickly, plan it quickly, make sure you have a plenty of time to write. So, you are not going to get timed out. You will finish everything you want to write in 10 minutes. So have as much time kept for you for your writing. I don't think that's a good advice. That's a recipe for disaster. I think you should use as much time as possible to plan it and develop it, and then write. Then you will use a lot less time at the end. Because when you write, it's going to be very simple. It'll be very quick. You cannot afford to write as you think. You will get slowed down. You will get stopped. Okay? So my suggestion, if you read everything in 1 minute, that would be tremendous. But let's be conservative. So obviously we don't read all the left side of the this prompt, just subject, and then we read the professor's prompt. Just quickly read the question, write it down in notes, and then read 2 students' answers and write it down like in a few words if we can, and do it as fast as possible, right? As quick as possible. So within 1 minute, it will be tremendous, but let's say we have to use within kind of 2 minutes to read. And you should be brave enough to invest at least 3 minutes or even 4. Okay? Planning, brainstorming, note-taking, and developing the answer to its full. Okay? As completely as possible. Okay? So I advise you to spend 4 to 6 minutes to read and plan and develop the essay as full as possible, right? And 120 words, 150 words, or 200 words, if you know what to write, you should be able to write within 2 minutes, okay? If you cannot write 150 words, like it's already in your head, and your typing speed, you cannot write that within 3 minutes, then it's not writing that is a problem. It's your typing speed. So you need to practice typing. Okay? All right? So we used to 4 to 6 minutes. All right? So we should be able to write in 3 to 4 minutes. Let's say 4 minutes. Okay? Okay? And we must have at least 1 minute or even 2 to check. Spell check, grammar check. Just read through within 1 minute. Okay, we were able to say the same length we were able to speak the same length answer in 45 seconds. So you should be able to read your full answer in loud voice within 1 minute, no problem. Okay. So let's say you use 2 minutes reading all the passages, information, and then you use 4 minutes planning and developing, then that's 6. You need to type within 3 minutes to have 1 minute left, or read within 2 minutes, and you finish planning, developing in 3 minutes, then you use 5 minutes. That's perfect. Okay. If you finish within 5 minutes, then you can spend 4 minutes. You won't need 4 minutes. Okay. You use around 3 to 4 minutes writing, then that's 8 to 9 minutes. So we'll have 1 or even 2 minutes to check. So this will be a perfect time management. So please don't be tempted to rush this part as quick as possible. So rush this within kind of 3 minutes. So I'm suggesting 5 to 6, right? Yeah, 5 would be perfect. 6 may be a little bit risky. You may get too nervous. Okay? So don't rush these 2 steps in 2 minutes and start writing as quick as possible. I'm sure you agree with me. That is a potentially recipe for disaster. Please don't do that. Okay? All right. So that's my advice. So we got perfect notes here. As far as I'm concerned, for 120 to 150 words, which is nothing. It's super short. And we don't need a fancy introduction either, right? And we'll put this notes on our left, and we'll see the final product, perfect answer, on the right side of the screen. We'll read through and then finish our class, finish our complete lesson for TOEFL writing question 2. All right, let's finish this off by going through the full final answer. That would be complete and sufficient enough to get the perfect score. Okay, so I put our note-taking plan and development on left-hand side, and I put up the final writing script on my right. Okay, so introduction, nothing fancy, just answer the question. In my opinion, day schools are better, so make it super clear so you cannot get any deduction. You have clearly answered the question. Make sure of it. Keep the basics solid. Okay, so day schools are better for most students and more beneficial for student education than boarding schools. Okay, so day schools are better, in my opinion, than boarding schools. Okay, express your opinion. Points. All right. First, students who attend right here. Okay, student who attends day school have more freedom to decide what they want and need to do that is more beneficial. They can decide to do a variety of activities every day to benefit their life after school. Okay, so first, students who attend day school have more freedom to choose what they can do after school each day to benefit their life. Topic sentence. Okay, why 1? Let's develop this a little bit. Students could decide to play sports some days. Other days, they can hang out with their friends to have fun. Or some other days, they could even decide to go to academies to study chemistry or mathematics to improve their grades. It is, so paragraph's conclusion, make it more powerful. It is, so connect this sentence to the topic sentence, right? It is all up to each student make beneficial decisions each and every day to improve their own lives. But boarding school students cannot make this kind of decision. they cannot get out of school. So they cannot make any decision that require them to be outside of the school and do something, right? It's impossible. Perfect. Okay. Second reason, we brainstormed. Day school students have more time to spend with their family, to develop better relationship with their family, and they can have their better experiences with their family because they can simply spend more time. If you attend boarding school, you don't have a choice. You cannot see them often enough. You lose opportunity to spend a lot of time with your family members. Okay? All right? So here we go. Where are we? Sorry. Second. Day school students have better opportunity to develop deeper relationship with their family members, right? So why? How? Day school students have opportunity to spend a lot of time with their family members every day, so they can have conversation, get some emotional support, get some advice, and have a lot of experiences, play together, talk to each other, and have lots of different experiences because you spending time with your family, right? That will help you develop deeper bond, right? However, boarding school students simply are not allowed. They are not able to spend a lot of time with their family members to, enjoy all these benefits because they won't see them often enough, sadly. Okay? So that's the answer, guys, right? In my opinion, day schools are better for most students and more beneficial for students' education than boarding schools for the following reasons. First, students who attend day schools have more freedom to choose what they can do after school each day to benefit themselves. Students could decide to play sports in club some days, hang out with their friends for some other time, or even go to academies to focus and study chemistry or mathematics to improve their grades. It is all up to each student to make decisions every day to benefit their own lives. But boarding school students cannot make these type of decisions. They have to stay at school. Second, day school students have better opportunities to develop deeper relationship with their families. Simply, they can spend more time with their family members. Day school students have opportunities to spend a lot of time with their family members to interact, receive support, and have a variety of experiences together to develop a deeper bond. However, boarding school students, unfortunately, sadly, will not be able to spend enough time with their family because they won't come home. They have to stay at school. Okay? So this came out to be about 160 to 170 words. So it was a little longer than we would have liked, but our strategy together, my strategy, will end up roughly around 150 words or a little bit longer than 150 words. So there you go. Perfect answer will score perfectly in TOEFL writing, question 2, closed question. So as I gave you a preview, because I want to give you like complete TOEFL program, like perfect program that have no stones left unturned. So I will make another video on teaching you how to write perfect essay, perfect answer for TOEFL writing question 2. But next time, I'm going to tackle on open question. So there's only small difference. Everything else is the same. It's still TOEFL writing question 2. But if you think about it fundamentally, how to answer open question and how to answer closed questions are different. And if you think about it, TOEFL question 1 in speaking section is always closed question. Okay, years ago, when TOEFL speaking section had 6 questions, it used to be, before the changes, question 1 was an open question. It was like additional different question altogether. All right. So they get rid of TOEFL question 1. So it's better for you guys. So you do 1 question less and you only do closed question in TOEFL speaking section these days. So I thought there is definitely value in me helping you solve open question type in TOEFL writing question 2 as well, to give you a complete learning experience. I thought it was important for me to do that. So probably the next video, I will give you a complete lesson video, same format, but covering TOEFL writing question 2. But question type next time is going to be open question, but it's going to be a lot shorter video because I'm not going to repeat all the direction, how to fundamentally understand the TOEFL writing question 2, the direction part, and I'm not going to make any comparison to TOEFL speaking question 1 anymore because I'll be just repeating myself and the video will be unnecessarily long. So next video, it will be just tackling the question of TOEFL writing question 2, but next time it will be open questions. So definitely valuable, I think. So you must watch the next video to get a complete lesson on TOEFL writing question 2, closed type of question and open type of question. So you get the whole learning experience. Okay. So I hope you tune in for my next video as I explain, and please subscribe my channel to support me. Keep making these videos for you guys. And if you found this video beneficial and if you feel that, yeah, I'm going to use some of the skills I learned in this video in answering question 2, TOEFL writing question 2, then please press the like button so more people can watch this video. Okay, thank you always for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you guys. Bye.